A man walks into a crowded airport terminal, carrying a passport that doesn't belong to him. His heart pounds as border security waves him through. He's just crossed an invisible line that most people never dare to approach. What happens when the person you pretend to be becomes more real than the person you actually are? This is the story of a man who systematically erased his own identity and built a new one from scratch, not to escape the law, but to chase internet fame. Between 2019 and 2023, he transformed himself so completely that even people who knew him before couldn't recognize the person he became. His real name, his history, his family connections, all of it disappeared behind a carefully constructed facade. This isn't a spy thriller or a witness protection case. This is about something more modern and more unsettling. A man who discovered that in the age of social media, your manufactured identity can be more valuable than your authentic self. And once that realization takes hold, there's almost no turning back. The story begins in late 2018 in a mid-sized apartment in Eastern Europe. A 26-year-old digital marketer named Alexei Volkov, not his real name but the identity he was born with, sat staring at his analytics dashboard. His YouTube channel had plateaued at 40,000 subscribers. His Instagram growth had stalled completely. Alexei made a decision that night that would eventually consume him entirely. He began researching legal name changes, document alterations, and the underground economy of fake credentials. Within 3 months, he had legally changed his name in 2 different countries, creating a paper trail that led nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. By summer 2019, Alexei Volkov no longer existed in any meaningful digital sense. In his place stood Marcus Thorne, a British-American entrepreneur with a fabricated education from a real university, work experience at companies where no one could verify his employment, and a backstory calibrated for maximum relatability. He even altered his accent, spending hours with dialect coaches to sound authentically transatlantic. The transformation wasn't just legal paperwork. Marcus underwent subtle cosmetic procedures, nothing dramatic but enough to change the geometry of his face in photographs. He deleted every social media account connected to Alexei, scrubbed his digital footprint using services designed for reputation management, and emerged 6 months later as an entirely new person. Marcus Thorne's content exploded immediately. His YouTube videos about cryptocurrency investing, personal development, and the future of work hit the algorithm perfectly. Within 18 months, he crossed 2 million subscribers. Brand deals rolled in. He was invited to speak at conferences. The person who didn't exist 2 years earlier was now being quoted in business magazines. But maintaining the fiction required constant vigilance. Marcus hired a team whose only job was to maintain consistency across his fabricated past. They created backdated social media posts, photoshopped him into events he never attended, and even paid actors to appear in throwback photos. The cracks started showing in early 2023. A dedicated group of internet researchers began noticing inconsistencies. Educational records that didn't quite match. People he claimed to have worked with who had no memory of him. Geographical impossibilities in his timeline. What began as casual curiosity turned into a coordinated investigation spread across Reddit, Twitter, and dedicated Discord servers. By the time journalists got involved, Marcus Thorne had already started to vanish again. His YouTube channel went dark overnight. His website redirected to a blank page. The Instagram that once posted motivational quotes every morning suddenly deleted thousands of posts. In what would become his final public appearance, Marcus gave an interview to a mid-tier podcast. The host, unaware of the controversy brewing online, asked him about authenticity in the digital age. Marcus smiled and said, "Authenticity is just good storytelling." Within weeks, his identity was completely dismantled. Reporters traced his passport applications, uncovered the legal loopholes he used, and revealed that multiple Marcus Thornes existed on paper, each slightly different, each registered in a different jurisdiction. When investigators finally located Alexei Volkov, the man behind the mask, he was living quietly under yet another name in a small apartment in Prague. A journalist managed to track him down and asked a single question: why? Alexei's response was chillingly calm. Because being someone else worked better than being myself. The scandal dominated headlines for a week and then disappeared, swallowed by the next viral story. But for those who had followed Marcus from the beginning, it left a deep unease. What drives a person to completely erase themselves? Psychologists who studied the case described it as a new kind of dissociative performance, identity as a product. They argued that Marcus wasn't unique. He was just the first to take the logic of social media fame to its extreme conclusion. In late 2024, accounts began appearing online with his familiar style, same camera framing, same phrasing, but under a new alias. Some said it was him again. Others thought it was an imitator. But maybe that's the point. Once a persona becomes profitable, it stops belonging to the person who created it. It becomes a digital ghost, free to possess anyone who can perform it well enough. Today, Marcus Thorne's original videos are studied in media schools as examples of synthetic authenticity. His rise and fall have become a blueprint for understanding the next evolution of online deception. Who owns a digital identity? The person who invents it, the algorithm that amplifies it, or the audience that believes it? Because in a way, we all do this. We filter, we edit, we craft. The only difference is scale. The boundary between who we are and who we appear to be online grows thinner every year. And somewhere in that collapsing space, people like Marcus or Alexei find the freedom to disappear completely. Maybe that's the final irony. The man who wanted to be seen by everyone ended up being no one. And yet, his story keeps returning to the feed, because in a world built on illusion, disappearing might be the most authentic thing left to do.